So it's the end of January. I have read 2 books so far, and I have to tell someone about it. So the first one is Homecoming King by Penny Reid. I have read another book of hers before. I can't remember the title. Dating-ish. I can't remember when it was released, but this one, Homecoming King, was released mid-December, I believe. And the plot basically is that her former classmate, who's now a pro athlete, pays her to marry him because every girl that he dates marries the very next guy they date after him, their very next boyfriend. And she is a bartender who has a con artist ex-husband who leaves her in a ton of debt. So that's the basic plot of it. And it was a little light on conflict. I feel like the Detention agents didn't really live up to their full potential because, I don't know, like the Psycho X, and there's this movie star Admirer as well, and plus the scam marriage. It all felt totally chill somehow. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I can excuse because it is a holiday book. I consider everything released around December to be a holiday book, and I have noticed a pattern where romance or like rom-com books released around December tend to be really light on conflict. And not that I blame them, because everyone wants a happy ending around Christmas, right? Everyone wants smooth sailing around Christmas. So yeah, I can excuse that. And while at its core, Homecoming King is very reminiscent of The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata, I think that it puts its own spin on it. I think that the treatment is different, and I am actually more in favor of Rex's style of aloof rather than the Prince Charming of The Wall of Winnipeg. I mean, that's just me. But I did prefer his kind of, personality for my Prince Charming, at least. And as for Abby, the protagonist, I have no complaints actually with Abby. She is the typical good protagonist. Like, you always expect her to choose honesty and choose to be straightforward. Actually, it was one of the reasons why the story was a little light on conflict, because right from the off, Abby chose to come clean with everything, with her past and everything. And so there was no really secrets that there was no shoe to drop, basically. And yeah, it was a really good book overall. I mean, it was enjoyable. And another point that I have for this book is that the transition from attraction to romance, I think it was a bit shaky. I think the motivations for each shift became more and more random as the story progressed. Like, later in the book, it comes out that Rex liked her all along, and another shift was Abby suddenly got over her trust issues after they kissed in a church. Spoilers, by the way. I mean, most of this is spoilers. I try not to give too much away with these books, but yeah, for me, it was a little rocky. I did enjoy the book, but there were it wasn't perfect, but I did enjoy it. Our second book is Put Me in Detention by Meghan Quinn. This is the first of her works that I've read, and the plot is basically our protagonist, Cora, accidentally marries one of her brother's colleagues while in Vegas celebrating her recent divorce. Stay with me. It was not a smooth sail, but it was funny. I was a bit skeptical because the Prince Charming's name is Pike, and I wasn't sure if I could put up with the name Pike for like 450 pages. But lo and behold, I can apparently put up with a lot. And it was enjoyable. One of my points for this book is that a lot of the characters, there were a lot of characters because they have this group of friend group thing going on, and there were a lot of characters that seemed closely inspired by existing characters from television series. There were a lot of aspects in the book that seemed closely inspired by like television. And for example, Keiko and Kelvin, they resemble Sheldon and Amy from The Big Bang Theory. I think it's even mentioned within the book. And Cora and her brother Arlo really remind me of Derek and Amelia Shepherd, like with everything that was revealed about Cora's past within the book. She reminded me of Amelia Shepherd. Plus, how Arlo was towards her reminded me of that as well. Even the recently repopularized expression "huzzah" from The Great, I don't even know if that was intentional, but it makes a few appearances. And actually, I'm sorry, but the line "you burn for me" also makes an appearance in the book. I don't even know if this was intentional. If it wasn't, I think it's an unfortunate coincidence because anything related to "burn for you" or "I burn for you" is, of course, as Bridgerton watchers know, is very synonymous with that series, especially after the unofficial Bridgerton musical came out recently. It's very, very synonymous with that because they even have a song dedicated to that whole exchange. And yeah, so that was, I don't know if that was intentional, but that's just something that I noticed in the book. It was very funny. I already said that, but I will say it again because it is very funny. A lot of the characters, especially Keiko, was very quirky, and I don't know. I really liked her character, even though it was it seemed to be inspired by Amy from Big Bang Theory. I think the author really made it her own, and one scene in the book, chapter in the book, that I really, really was laughing out loud was Keiko and Kelvin's vows, where they they started their vows with "to whom it may concern," and I look forward to bedding you for the rest of my life. I mean, who does that? I think that was really, really a smart move on the author's part to make the book very humorous, because some of the chapters tend to be heavy as well. Not that heavy, but there's a good balance. And some of the lines in this book tend to be a little cringy, but nothing too bad. And it was actually a good story, and I think there was the proper amount of tension. It is an accidental marriage type trope, and for that, I think the tension from the secrets and everything they were hiding from each other, and the possibility of getting discovered, all these secretive aspects provided the right amount of tension for it. One major thing, though, that I wasn't keen on in this book is the cover. I mean, no offense to anyone and everyone involved with making the cover, but I think it was not for me. Basically, that's my main concern about this book. I know we shouldn't judge a book by its cover. We've heard that time and time again, but I don't know, it just wasn't for me. So those were the 2 books that I've read so far. I mean, I know a lot of other people would read a lot more for like the first month of the year, but I only got 2 in. I will be reading a lot more. I intend to read a lot more, but yeah, those were my first 2 books of the year. Let's look forward to like many more awesome books and many new releases for this year. Okay, bye guys. See ya next time I have to rant.